Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Here we are, Polina, talking to you about the Penumbral eclipse, the lunar eclipse happening between the 5th and the 6th of May 2023 is going to be a really hardcore experience for some people. And even though it's a softer eclipse and people are like, oh, it's just like a little shadow over the moon, there's still going to be quite a lot of us asking, what just happened? How did this happen? What is going on? So there's going to be quite a lot of things. Sometimes even people taken from us. There's going to be quite an ironic and unique way that things happen. And if you look at the dream that is panning out in front of you, you have to notice the beauty, and the curiosity and the strange theater, I suppose, that this has presented to you. It's a very nice time to think and dream and to feel what you know and to really go through the ins and outs of your life. And for some people, it is about strategy and finding out what you can now be and what you can now do to help yourself reaffirm and kind of basically get out of probably most of these different things and all of these situations that are obvious now. So for example, you've been part of a bad situation, you've been talking to a person that has something weird going on, or you have been part of a group of people that are like on the run, or I don't know, you've been a part of something that basically is dangerous and could cause upheaval. And now it's like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. So this is like brush with death. I feel that some people could have say, not necessarily a car accident, but just like a very close call. There is a feeling of fear, but it comes from the infrastructure of your truth and the beauty that is here in the world. It is a beautiful change. It's not an ugly, extreme, oh, my computer just shut down, I don't know what this is, kind of times. This is a storyline. I feel that there is a narrative. And of course, as usual, there would be something to learn and maybe something to later burden yourself with. So what I mean is oh, I now recognize that was really dangerous to do, or wow, I've been with these different people and I've made say love with this person, and then now I know that they're not for me, they're just going around in circles, or wow, this whole story is disintegrating basically. So it's you are standing on rotten soil, you got to understand. And the psychology basically here is also understanding the theatrical part of these stories that are playing out in front of you. They're not just stories. There is also a part of this which is peaceful, a part that is sentient, a part that is mystical, a part that is beautiful, a part that is gross, grotesque, and then there is a part that is really psychic. So quite a lot of these world events also that we'll be living through during this time are not going to be just a one thing. It's this is good and this is bad. Now this is how. Now this is not going to be as blatant and as perfect as this. I feel there's going to be an element of theater and interweaving of different people's lives. Also, this moon is going to be in Scorpio. The sun is going to be very close to the north node there. And yeah, the moon is going to be very, very close. She'll be passing the south node. So this is a very, very good and gorgeous time to understand evolution. Also, I'll say more than this. The sun will actually be next to Uranus and very close to Vesta, with retrograde Mercury, which is hard. So what I'm saying is that to catch on to some of it, you got to sit down basically. So it's I got to sit down. Wait, I got to sit down. How did this happen? The whole relationship might just be in front of your eyes, obvious. The whole group of friends might have to be revised. Also with Venus coming out of Gemini, there's going to be a really real time to grieve and also time to trust, and it'll be okay, get me out of here, say where's the hospital, or where is the nearest center, okay, I got to get out of this. So there's some people that know they have to get out of it. There are some people that know they're living, say, in rubbish environments, or they are living with people that cannot help them, or they're doing things that will not be useful. They are looking at life without real taste or sentiment. They're not looking at life in a human way. They're looking at it as kind of like something unintelligible. They're not listening. They're not feeling anything. And then these experiences are like, whoa, this is like hyper real. Or like the minute that I looked at that person, I knew there was something up. Or like, wow, 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 why didn't they tell me before? So there is this kind of like very, very deep emotional shift that I believe is going to happen for some people. And yeah, it's going to be quite a carnal night. It's going to be quite a deep night. And there's going to be quite a lot of intensity. I mean, this is Scorpio full moon already. That's going to put a shiver down your spine, up your spine. I've got a Scorpio moon, so I kind of know this stuff, so I'm not that frightened of it. But like, if you don't have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, it'll be like, I don't know what this is. This is a no-go zone. Like, no go, no go. So what can I say? Like, say for us Scorpios, people that have a lot of Scorpio, I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. We're going to maybe have to be trusted with something like, for example, looking after somebody else's device, logging onto somebody else's computer, having somebody else's keys. That's also going to have to be maybe avoided and respected at the same time. So like also like the whole don't shoot the messenger thing, like you don't want to accidentally like overstate things to somebody, even though Scorpios are going to have a pretty awesome time this month, plus or minus. We have to be very brave and very sure and secure, and not usher in anything else that we shouldn't be ushering, and not partake in anything that is not important to us, to our souls. Got to be diligent, and not just to like have a ball when it's probably not conducive. So what can I say? I mean, for other people, like for people in general, it can be very pretentious. This whole eclipse season, this time around, could be very pretentious, very global. If you're very easily led, if you have very emotional body, if you're wearing your heart on the sleeve, you know, if you're like, say, lamb to the slaughter, if you enjoy other people taking advantage of you without knowing why you do that to yourself, it's hard to be naive during this time. Try to see the whole thing. So the idea is not to isolate any kind of element in your picture and fixate on it. That's very childish. It's like, why did this have to happen right now? Why did this happen now? You know, so like the idea basically is not to isolate anything or anybody. And to try and to get strong and to see the multitude of different rhythms and different pictures that you're painting right now. To see how you are walking with certain people and how different factors of your life are contributing to that one reality. So for example, this could be lack of sleep, this could be diet, this could be too much sleep also, this could be too many friends, this could be friends from the wrong part of town, this could be trusting the wrong person, this could be like screening people for things that they don't need to be screened for, and then also devising things that shouldn't be devised. This could be like working in the wrong industry, this could be like not being friends but kind of pretending to be friends with somebody. So there's like a lot of like maybe like lying, stealing, cheating underneath. So also talked about like say rabbit year being superb time for the shadow, for all the shadow, like the gangs, like secret activity, money, like theft, like I suppose, I don't know, like turbulent futures, turbulent paths, and turbulent pasts. Yeah, so people that are not really going very well could probably have a very interesting experience now, especially with Lilith being in Leo. So it's a very interesting like gang culture that I'm picking up on right now. So there could be like a lot of us people not even knowing as to what is going on under the you know, under the radar, I should say. So there's like a question mark of what is going on, like what is wrong, what is healing, like how would you really want to do things at the end. Don't undermine anything or anybody. Like you think it's not a big deal, don't undermine it. There is a lot more happening in society and culture and the universe today than we understand or even hope to know. There are so many people struggling in the world also. There is such a break between classes and systems and cultures in some places of the world. There is such a big shame in some countries. in some areas where people live. There's so many people asking some very big crucial truths and also presenting some very unconscious behavior and very big lies. There's like such a huge cycle with lying and theft and disorder, disorganization. So like the whole idea basically is to get through things without maybe putting anything out. So like you don't want to accidentally say, for example, do something extreme. This is not a moon to like say have a huge fight and pull out a knife. Like this is just not one of those dreams. It is not a good moon to like threaten somebody or force too much or say too many things. This is a bad moon for talking without stop. This is a bad moon for eating without stop. This is a bad moon for drug abuse. This is a huge karmic moon for anybody that has ever been under pressure to do certain things that they didn't like, or that wanted to do things that they shouldn't have done. So this is a very uncomfortable moon, and it's like, oh, swivel to the left, swivel to the right, wow, hit a lamppost, you know. So this is like a weird feeling. If you have issues with driving, like your automotive skills are not very good, if your speaking skills are not very good, if you can't really drive your life right now, I suggest stop, take a break, you know, enjoy something simple and give yourself some time, because it's not for every single person that this moon is right. But then for some people, it's going to be a better moon than we think. And why? Is because they have done a lot to do with something and now they're an expert at it. This is a good moon for the achieved. It's like, I've got it all sorted out. I've got everything in the right place. I've been meaning to do this. This is really, really hard. This is only for a certain type of, I suppose, ego, a certain type of personality. Some people don't know how, but they're blessed. It's like, I've planned, like, for example, to get pregnant on this moon. Or like, I've planned to pack my bags and go to this part of town. Or I already knew what was prepared for me. That takes a really, like, psychic genius, I suppose, takes a really special predominant person in terms of power and movements in the world, like huge conglomerates of people being led by just one person, giant money being spent and lent by just like one or two people, very, very huge power. So this is where we see a very undeniable factor, the X factor. It's like, this is like the thieves of thieves, or like this is like the master of masters, or like this person knows how to do mechanics, or this person really is a great surgeon or great actor. So there's like a very, very big one of many, but the one to end them all, you know, like Lord of the Rings type of thing. You know, so like some people don't really need it, but they know like they're going to go for it. Like, for example, it's hard. If you're just so good at something, those people, other people, they don't need it, they don't want it, they don't have to have it, but they get pulled into your aura. So for example, you are a great masseuse, like a master masseuse, and you figured out everything. You've been preparing, you've been going to school, you've been studying, you've been learning from masters, you've been learning from nature, you've been learning from life, and then like 6 years later, you end up at a certain type of territory. And even those people that never had a massage before and never thought they would, come to you because they know something's up. They're like, ah, this is cool. Like, I'm not nervous about this anymore. I want to try it, and I want to try it with you. So these masters are very hard to notice people, and they're kind of freaks. So there's like a freaky, creepy factor. It's not just like a good, wholesome person that learns how to do things. It takes a genius, and to be a certain type of genius, it takes a kind of freakishness. So there's like a freak factor. Like say, wow, this person, like, whoa, they blew my mind, but they kind of creeped me out. So like that kind of fear of also other people has to stop, has to end. Every single person is different. It takes a genius sometimes to work out certain things, like what it takes to be a genius for many reasons. So what would it take to be the one? It's interesting. Like, for example, India has a lot of it. Like, it's not just about gurus. It's about the extrasensory, like magic people of India. Like, they're not just people that know stuff. These people are with a really big freak factor, and they know that, and they celebrate and they culture the freak factor, and they revere it, or they respect it, and they understand it. Now, it's hard for me to talk to you about this because I know that in the West, everything kind of gets smoothed out under the one level, and nobody wants to know anymore. or see anymore. They want it just to be kind of safe and packaged up nice and clean, and everything's kind of the same. So it's kind of like, yeah, like say, I'll go to that hairdresser because they're nice, not necessarily because they would do a good job. So like that's the thing. It's like to notice the freak factor also about you is hard. This is where basically the quantums come in. So if you have made it this far in this video, thank you. Okay, so this is hard when you understand that you have a freakish part of you. For example, I sit there alone, and suddenly I know every single thing that's happening in the world, and it just comes to me, and then I have this little freak out, and then something happens, and then I know that reality has changed. I know that it's not going to be the same as it was. There are so many people that work like that. So many. For example, I prayed to the river and I asked her for forgiveness, and then the next day I had a big gift and I had the smile on my face all day. Yeah, weird, very weird. It's like this is like stuff that fairy tales made of. No, it's not just. For example, I spoke to this person, I gave them my whole heart and I showed them who I was, and then 3 days later I figured out my whole story and everything was very easy. I did this and then brrrr. I did this, brrrr. Like say I was giving my partner a massage and I pressed a couple of buttons and I did this and I did this and I hovered my hands around their body and suddenly they said they felt fantastic and they didn't have any pain anymore. I don't know how that happened. So like the whole important thing about this time is yeah, there's like a religious or like sort of miracle based energy. Let's not go into this. This is perfectly natural. This is perfectly natural. This is not about any particular god or deity. Though for some people there is a need for a buffer, so they use that. It is just not about anything else but you and how you are and who you are, and also where you've been investing your time. Sometimes the brain or like brain chemistry or the body gets really good at things because of how much time is spent on it. It's not just this. If it's found a way out, it's kind of like rabbit, you know, finding a way out. So we're in a rabbit here, being inside a burrow, and then suddenly digging a way out and like finding another cabin, you know. So this is kind of how it is. There are certain people that are so good at some things, like also like say pigs searching for truffles, you know, that kind of thing. It's like I know where it is, or like I know how to do this. An expert suddenly. An expert. Try to notice what you're an expert on. I'll share like a little thing about me. I'm very, very good at traveling, like super. I used to travel a lot. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, I have been traveling for like 6 or so years and then recently settled down. But yeah, like hotels, districts, parts of town, comfortable living, hotels, where people are connecting to source energy anywhere, even with like skyscrapers and everything, understanding where things work and where things don't work in town, going to the right sites and activating different parts of the town. Like I've been doing that for like a good 6 or 7 years. So if you'd like to learn from me, you can. I mean, this is not the point. It's just like understanding what you've really got it. I already got it going on. Like, for example, when it comes to that, maybe you got it going on where you don't even think it's worthy and you can't really tell anybody yet. So maybe that's also part of the story. It's not about telling anybody. It's not necessarily about being a teacher to anybody. It's kind of like about no longer suffering because something is so easy for you. Like, say, travel is super easy for me. Certain things are very, very, very kind and very wholesome and very good, and they just work, and some things they won't. So yeah, I mean, this is like skipping ahead a little bit about the month of May in general. Some things, no matter how much you invest in them, they just don't work. For example, I'm living in a house at the moment that has a lot of fungus and mildew because it's in the jungle. No matter how many times I clean it, no matter how much time I put into it, it'll never be clean. Like the ants are like eating my rugs, you know, like, and the geckos are pooping on my floor, you know, like it's just, and there's rats and there's like little possums and there's snakes and there's different types of angelic little, you know, creatures like insects and things. But it's just never gonna change. You know, so it's like I clean. 4 hours later, it's gross again. Like the roof like has particles and they end up everywhere. You know, so it's like one of those things like the futile pursuits. It's not just about being futile. It's like Some things are not, and some things won't ever be anything but what they are. So that's really difficult. This is like about the fixed signs. This is also about the stellium and the fixed sign of Taurus, So I mean, I'll just say what we got. Jupiter's not yet in Taurus. North Node retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Vesta, Sun, and Uranus, and also Sedna's on the real little bit at the end of Taurus. So how can I say this? This is a very, very hard time if you don't understand your whole picture. And usually people are straight and they do wonderful things, but they're not fully grounded and not fully resonant in their reality because they can't forgive something or somebody. So it's not just about forgiving, it's about understanding why things don't go your way, and sometimes why we're part of useless or useful pursuits, but they're not fully there. So basically the whole presence of this moon is about potential, and this whole month is about potential. We're looking at north and south nodes. It's like the meaning of our lives. And also we're in eclipse season. My gosh, and quite a lot of it just has to rot. And allow this place to go, or allow that to grow, allow it. And this is hard. So also for example, if you have children, this is really hard for some parents to understand where your child's true potential and meaning of life is. So they're like a teenager and you thought they were going to be this, but they grew as that. It's so hard. You've been teaching them to do something that is completely not part of their nature. So also I suppose what I have to say is nature will get you back. She will. If you, for example, have not been honest and have not been nice, have not been kind, and have not been easy, and have gone the wrong way or the opposite way of what you were actually meant to be or what you were preparing for, it's just going to be look, let's take you back a few steps. Coming back to a certain place. So we are in retrograde season a little bit as well with the north and south nodes, and also Humia connected to the south node is in retrograde. I'll just tell you who's retrograde right now. North and south nodes, Mercury, Humia next to the south node. Make will be with Fortune on the eclipse. She's retrograde. Ceres is in Virgo. She will be in retrograde. Make, by the way, is in Libra. Pholus is in Capricorn retrograde, So yeah, and Psyche also is in retrograde in Scorpio. What does this say? It's just kind of I feel some of it, especially with the north and south nodes, is going to go backwards, and it's going to be better than that which it was. So some people, for example, come back to traveling again, it's going to be better than it was. So some people are going to go back to bartering, buying and selling, or doing the previous jobs, or going to the previous homes or territories. It's not just this, it's just understanding where it was natural for you to be somebody and where it wouldn't be natural for you anymore. That's really interesting. It's really hard. It's for example, changing sexuality. That could be coming back to what was more important and more connected to you, changing of partnerships, coming back to a previous partnership or a previous partnership dynamic, walking out of that which hurts, especially if you have irritation. In terms of irritation, on the skin, your body being irritated, having some kind of toxic shock or something like that, some kind of symptoms. Doing things a more prosaic and a more simple way, being simplified by other people, making no choices where you've done the thing and it basically wiped you down, and then you didn't have anything to do. So for example, you have been investing your time studying something and doing something, and it just won't help you. It won't work. So the idea basically also to understand where our strategies are lying strategies, where you have lied about something, you've been trying to be a part of some group or conglomerate, or if you've ever been trying to be a friend to a person that has absolutely nothing to do with you, but you really wanted it to work out, lies, and also surfacing, because Scorpio is about surfacing a few things and a few ideas that maybe have been from the previous eras of your life, or maybe they were in your ancestry. So I suppose the question that I'm asking you, because readings are kind of questions also, Like, what do you really need? Like, what do you really like speak of? And like, you just light up, and it doesn't matter if anybody's listening. So sometimes there's some things that touch you, and they touch your spirit so warmly that your whole body becomes like a bell, like it rings with life. Where were you, like in your maybe even past lives, or your previous incarnations, or your previous design, where you really thought this could be ideal? Sometimes some of it is also fleeting, like dating somebody for like only 4 weeks and then knowing that was the ideal. Being with somebody for only a short period of time, but knowing that's like a landmark for you, maybe unconsciously, maybe you don't ever speak about it with anybody, but you just know. The nose knows, so we are talking about these paths and energy and all of this, and not likely gonna miss it. It's like something about you gets sprung also. So there's inertia. It's not just inertia, it's like a certain type of voice of nature that works with certain people, and all of it that is falling apart or getting back together, claiming a space, not claiming a space, anything, and this kind of Rubik's Cube reality of life making is going to be just nothing when you see that person again. When you see that person again, or when you feel that feeling again, or when you know. Like there is like a deep sincerity. There is like a karmic feeling also with a lot of it. It's like, I know I've like, for example, seen the world over, but there is only one person that makes me weak at the knees, Or I've traveled to many countries, but there's only the one place where I actually love to be. And the voices like maybe don't say the full thing. Maybe like how you're feeling in your heart doesn't really say the full thing. But there is something that happens. It's almost like a springtime. It's almost like a water in your body stops and starts a new cycle again. It's like the whole body starts to vibrate and bring up new themes and messages. There's only this one special thing. It's like the butterflies in the stomach sometimes. And in some people's lives, it could be different. So this depends. It's like I saw that or I felt that and my whole body froze. And I can't even remember where I am. Or like something happens to me, and it can usually be a physical response during this time. Or like I got brain fog. I saw this guy and I blushed and I got brain fog and I didn't even know what I was going to do or say. Something happened to me. Something happened to me. It's not just this. It's like my chemical reactions started anew. And that's really important. And as Jupiter is at the end of Aries, these are biological lessons we have to learn. Biology doesn't lie. How your body feels sometimes is way more important than how your mind thinks or how your thought patterns process. It's not about wanting to find a way out anymore. It's not about knowing what is clean, what is dirty. It's not about loving or not loving, liking or not liking. It's more about like understanding the primitive thinking patterns and also these very weird feelings and archaic phenomena that happen sometimes with people, like rage or like bulging emotions. And then starting to maybe study anew or change your life if you want to really fix certain things. But like understanding them, it's like I'm stopped in my tracks. So like I got peaked, I felt something. But then at the same time, also, yeah, it's just a big question. This is a very big month. This month is a huge month, and it does speak of maturity a lot, and does speak of compassion. What are you exchanging for what? It's like, for example, you sold your earth for money, or like say, you've spent this time with this person, and it took something from you, or like the exchange rate. It's like, you've been burdened by karma, but you're still doing this, you're doing that exchange rate. It's like what it took you to get there, what is taking you to live every day, like how much money do you have to invest to have a certain type of life, what kind of business are you a part of, what kind of people do you have to circulate with in order to survive, like what does this take to grow this one seed, how much power does it take, is this the soil for the seed? I don't know. But this is like, how much does it take to achieve this? And also like natural and unburdened people, and there are many, but they are not maybe very pleasant to other people. And this is a very interesting way how nature works this out this time. We might be more attracted or more attractive to people that need us there. Attraction between people, this nice smallness, this kindness, and this kind of like black and white philosophy. This happening for a lot of people, and I did say about how the conglomerate heals itself through acceptance and definition. And Rabbit, yeah, yes, we do it like this. This is the way that you dress for the party. This is how you do it. This is how you cook. This is how you clean. This is what you wear. It's very, very kind. And then also I feel that the ones that don't need it are way out there. It's like there is a person in public that won't get an ovation from other people. They won't be accepted. Or they're not made for acceptance. And then being disrespected or unloved sometimes during this time, or being thrown out of the game, is kind of good. It's just that there is not that many of you guys in some schemes. Maybe you guys don't even need to listen to these videos anymore. So like that's the thing. It's like some of these like aborted people that are going their own way, people that are a little crazy or a little stark. It's very interesting. It's like you are so strong that you're incredibly alone. If you're so strong that you're incredibly alone, that takes a very special person. I feel that some people, and I come back here to this notion of like the derelict and a person who's just a rolling stone or a tumbleweed person, that it's just hard to talk about them because they don't belong anywhere, these free radicals in a way. They don't mean anything to anybody else, but within them is the world. So that's the other part of the story. That's the background part. And everybody's so afraid of losing their place in society. Everybody's so afraid of not doing the right thing sometimes that they might forget that these people exist. But they're very wholesome and they're very natural. It's just hard to understand them sometimes. So that's what I'm kind of feeling this month as well. There's a feeling of watching it all from above or from afar. And yes, some people don't have to go the same route. They don't have to be part of that plait that everybody's part of. They don't have to be part of the weaving. And that can also bring a lot of ego up, and can also bring a lot of joy. There's a completely different path. There's a completely different focus. The force of the planet is completely different. And it's shining. So like the path of the traveler or the person that is not about anything or anybody else. It's really, really uprooting itself from the previous systems, and it's starting to be something magical, something miraculous. It's just not a lot of people have the time for it. Not a lot of people understand that it's true. It has a force of nature within it. Most people would rather keep their job, keep their house, keep their stability, keep their money, keep their husband, keep their kids. You know, they want to keep up with other people's things, other people's troubles, but they don't actually really want to learn. So yeah, that's exact. I think it's just also about being a memory of a memory of a memory, and being a picture of a picture of a picture, and being a copy of a copy of a copy, or a representative of something or somebody, or being the true self. So that's yeah, that's where I'm gonna just drop this video. Thank you so much. Enjoy, and I hope this has been interesting. Have a look at my Patreon. Have a look at my website, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.